Which one am I painting?
Just a minute, I'll explain. All right. Okay, let's make sure that we are good to go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second paint class. Well, it's not a class. A paint time together. Just got to get my coffee. That's really important. We will wait a few minutes for people to get on. And I think I see Krista is there with Edith and Josie and Elliot maybe. And Heather is there with Audrey and Elizabeth and Hannah. Welcome, everybody. We'll just take a few minutes and let a few more people pop on before we actually begin. So we've got Malcolm here, but you can call him MJ. I'm Carolyn, you can call me CJ, and we've got AJ, Amelia, wandering around, and you might see her fluffy hair go by the camera. Hopefully she doesn't tip the camera. I'm always afraid she's going to grab everything, tip it over. So welcome, welcome. Oh, see, I told you, I knew Amelia was going to tip the camera. All right. You do not have to have, hi Deanne, that means Inara and Josh are there. Okay. First and foremost, let's talk about our setup. You can have last week's canvas if you want, and I am going to use mine and I will explain that as we go. But first, what's the most important thing is what we're wearing. I've got my painting shirt on and my painting pants on, and Malcolm has his painting shirt on. And now we've got our table that we paint on all the time. I hope that you have a nice area to work on that you can get messy and not wreck anything. So I saw lots of you had some cool ideas. You had picnic tablecloths laid down. Some of you had garbage bags laid down. Some of you had towels. All that works. Great, great, great. Okay. So last week, I'll do a quick little recap for those of you who are new and didn't get to see last week's. Last week, we talked about moving the paint. And so we used different methods to move the paint. The most important thing we used was water. And so I have my painting here from last week. I used red, blue, green, and yellow. And my paint was very liquid. So it moved quite a bit. I poured it on out of the containers, drizzled it on, and moved it around. And I used my spray bottle. I hope everybody has a spray bottle. Okay. Here's Malcolm's. Malcolm used paint that was out of the tube like this. So it was much more thick. And so he used his roller. He had his roller. And he moved the paint around using a roller. Okay? So today we are going to do learn one more technique that I use a lot. And you can choose to use a new canvas, or you can choose to use your old canvas. And the reason I am doing it this way is because I'm showing you how I paint. And for me, this painting is not finished. I don't think it's done yet. And so I'm going to put some more layers on my canvas. Malcolm, would you like to use your old canvas or a new canvas?
I think a new canvas.
Okay, so Malcolm's going to use a new canvas. I'm going to put this here in case you do decide to add to some of it later. He has a piece of board, a canvas board. So that means that it's not thick at all. This is usually put into a frame once you've painted on it. And so he has already painted on this once before. When he was in grade 1, he used it at school and he painted on it. And I have taken my primer. Remember that fancy art word called gesso? I gessoed the canvas last week for him, just in case he wanted to use it. So you can see his old colors on the back. He used blue before. So now it's like perfectly clean white blank canvas ready for him to use. I paint over canvases all the time. You can always reuse your canvases. You can enjoy the painting for a time, and then if you feel, I'm done with that, you can totally paint over it. All you need is some white paint. So I've put the primer on, and so he's going to use this white board for his painting today. So, and another little review we're going to do is our tools. So last week I showed you that we have rollers. This is what I usually use for most of my paintings. And one cool thing about sponge rollers is that you can reuse them. So I took Malcolm's and I wrapped it up in some plastic. So here it is, and it's all wet with paint still, but I'm just going to put it on this roller in case he chooses to use it. And yeah, it's got paint on it still, and so that might come out through his painting, but you know what? This is all a big giant experiment, so if a little bit of extra old paint gets on your canvas, it might turn out really cool. You never know. Then we've got two paintbrushes that are very large, and I like to use these a lot as well. One is flat, so you're going to have nice crisp edges when you move the paint. One is round, which is going to give you some different kind of strokes, some different movement in the paint. And then we've got two smaller canvases. Again, one is flat and one is pointy and round. Okay? So, all right. So, we're going to start. Malcolm has chosen his colors today. He's got two that he used last week.
Orange.
And?
Red.
And what's your new color this week?
Green.
Green, okay. So, the technique that we're going to use today is, I don't know if there's a fancy word for it, but we're going to make dots on the canvas. So the way I do that, there's a message there. Who's writing? I better just check. Somebody's making sure that they have a question.
I'll take over.
So, oh, there he is. Hi, Steve. That means Addie and Grace are there. Sorry, guys. Okay. Oh, come on. Okay. So, we're going to start. So, Addie and Grace have just joined us, too. That's great. And Veronica and Lucy have joined us, too. Veronica says, hi, Malcolm. So, you can say
Hi.
to Veronica.
Okay.
Okay. So, what was I saying? Dots. We're going to put dots on the canvas, okay? I like to put dots on a lot of my canvases. And what I like to do is I like to use a paintbrush to kind of tap them on. So let's just start with what we learned last week. We're going to pour our paint onto our canvas and we're going to move it around with our brushes or our rollers and our spray bottles. So let's just do that together and then we'll move on to the dots, okay? So you can get started and I'm going to get started and you guys can get started too. So I'm using my same colors from last week because, like I said, I don't feel like my painting is done yet. So I've got my green and my blue and my yellow and my red. And don't feel like you have to pay attention to me right now. You can just be painting away. I'm just explaining what I'm doing for those of you who are interested. So I'm going to put some more blue on mine. And I'm going to put some more red. I think I said last week that I don't really like to see the canvas underneath. I like thick, rich, deep colors. You can put yours directly on the canvas if you want, Malcolm.
Yeah, I just like to do it like this.
So Malcolm's put his paint in a painting tray. He's put some right there. And I think he's going to do his own little way of putting his paint on his canvas, I think, eh?
This one's there.
I just want to thank everybody who came last week to the painting session. And I really want to thank everybody who brought me or who sent me pictures of their canvases. They were beautiful paintings. We got so many. And I apologize if I couldn't get your picture onto my Instagram. Some of them I just couldn't, my phone wouldn't let me do it. So hopefully this time you guys can send me your pieces. So Malcolm is using his pointed paintbrush and he's putting a line on. I've decided to use a roller today because I love using rollers. So I'm taking for myself, I'm taking the paint and I'm moving it onto the spots that I feel are a little bare. But I'm still leaving puddles of blue everywhere. And then I'm going to move my green, and I don't care that my blue gets mixed into my green. I think it's pretty. And then my red, and again, I'm going to put some of my blue and green into my red. And I like that. I think it's nice. And then my yellow. In certain parts, I'm not going to cover up because I really like how certain parts came out with my yellow. And I'm going to come up nice and close to the camera so you can see what I really liked. See this part here that all dried? I really like that. So I'm going to stay away from that. So I've got my red here, and I've got yellow here, and green through here, and blue. And this might get covered up once I put some water on it and move it around a bit. But for now, I'm just going to see if I can just kind of keep that right there. All right, so Malcolm is adding his orange now with his paintbrush. And remember, Malcolm, you can put lots of paint on because if you only have a little paint, it's hard for your paint to move. But if you put lots of paint on your canvas, it's easy for your paint to move. Can everybody see Amelia's fuzzy wuzzy head right there?
I don't know.
Can you say hi? Hi. Okay. All right, I'm going to let Malcolm keep going with his. Yeah, and I'm going to move on to my spray bottle, which we talked about last week. And one thing we have to remember about a spray bottle is which way we're pointing it. If I go like this and spray right now, I'm going to spray blue onto Malcolm's canvas. I don't want to do that. Yeah. Watch out. Watch out. Okay. So no fighting in the classroom. And don't spray your mom or dad. Maybe your brother and sister, but don't spray your mom and dad. Okay. So I'm going to use my spray bottle. I'm going to spray the red a little bit. Actually, quite a bit. I use lots of water. I'm going to spray my blue quite a bit. And my green.
I think you just got some on there.
I did. Oops. I got a little bit of blue on Malcolm's canvas. Sorry, Malcolm. But thankfully it's on the blank side. Oh, maybe not. Okay. I'm going to start moving just a little bit. I want the water to really get in there. Really move my paint. Oh, there we go. That's what I like right there. So now I've got a rainbow effect going on. The yellow is mixing with the red into the green, then into the blue. The red is going down into the blue. But because I put my paint on really thick, there's big globs of red paint that are super bright, super brilliant. Same with the yellow. These dry with a little bit of texture. They dry out nice and thick, and so you kind of have a texture to your canvas. It's so beautiful. So I like that right there. And to me, I feel like if I go any further, I'm going to wreck it. It's hard to stop sometimes. Sometimes I have to force myself to walk away. It's very tempting to keep touching your canvas. So I like that right there. And if I lay it down flat, there's still lots of water on it. So the water might cool a bit and wreck this movement. The movement is going down. So I'm going to just kind of prop it on something. So what I'll do is I'll take one of my tins of paint here, and I'm going to put this The rest is underneath. Oh, wow. Let's show everybody what you're doing, Malcolm. That's cool. So Malcolm just put a little bit of paint on, but then he sprayed some water, and he's got this really cool... Can I show everybody your canvas?
Okay.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to be done yet. That's okay. But I'm just going to show them that Malcolm has a bare canvas underneath, and he's got some cool movement going on there. Okay. Oops.
I'm just gonna get that white out.
Yep. Lots of paint. Okay, so I'm going to let Malcolm keep working on that. Hope you guys are doing well. So I just noticed again that I want to keep the paint going in that direction down, and it had kind of stopped, so I'm going to lift it up again. I'm going to just hold it here for a minute. Has everybody had their morning coffee? All you kids out there had your coffee this morning?
I think they had tea, actually.
Coffee is where it's at. Or maybe you have orange juice. What are you doing? That's not your canvas. What a goof. What a goof.
Amelia's the goof.
Yeah, she is. At the moment, Amelia is currently taking all of her dirty clothes out of her laundry bin and scattering them all over the floor. In case you were wondering what she's up to, she's got her own kind of art going on there.
With clothes.
With clothes. It's a fashion show of dirty clothes. Okay.
Polka dots.
So now I feel like it's okay. It's, you know, it's still moving down there, but it's not pooling. And I've got some neat things going on where the blue is starting to pop through. So I think that's good. I'm just going to lay it down nicely. Okay. Okay. So Malcolm has got a few more layers on there. He's sprayed some water. Oh, your orange is flowing down. It looks super cool right here. Okay. So you can keep painting away, but I'm going to show you a technique that I use that people love. I'm actually working on a special painting right now for Malcolm's Auntie Heidi, and she said to me, "Hey Carolyn, can you put your dots on the canvas?" And she said, "I don't know what else to call it." And I said, "I don't know what to call it either, but that's really what it is. It's just dots." So what it is I like to take a small paintbrush like this one, and then I like to take one of my colors that I'm using. So in this moment I'm going to use my red. And if you are using paint that is in a tube and is very thick, just ask your mom and dad to put a little bit in a small container. Which color would you like to dot with?
White.
White? Okay. So take the color that you have that's in a tube, put it in a small container, and add a little bit of water. You want your, canvas is moving, sorry guys. You want the color that you're going to use for your dots, you want it to be a little bit liquid, okay? You want it to be able to flow a bit, and this will make it easier to get it on the canvas. So I'm going to pour, I've already got white that's quite liquid. I'm going to pour a little bit of white here, Malcolm, for you right there. Okay, you only need a tiny, tiny bit. A little goes a really long way. Better move this paint out of the way before Amelia takes it and makes some real art. Okay, so you use this small one and I'll use this small one. Oh, I just covered up my red. Silly me. So, take some paint, get it a little bit liquid, take your paintbrush and just dip it just a teeny tiny bit into the paint. Can you do that too? Just dip it a teeny tiny bit into the paint. And then what I do is I hold the canvas, the paintbrush like this, and I hold my hand out like this, and I whack it. And you will find that you'll get tiny little dots, perfect little dots on your canvas. And I will show you what mine looks like here. I just whacked it very gently, but you can see my red dots right there. Okay, just very gently, only a teeny tiny bit of paint. Unless you want big dots. If you want big dots, then you put your paintbrush right in there and you whack it on your hand and you will get really big dots. It all depends on what you like. I have a small canvas and I wanted just little dots, so I just took a teeny tiny bit of red.
Looks like a big ginormous goosebump.
So Malcolm did white, and wow, is the white ever popping, because he doesn't have any white on his canvas anymore. And look at that. Look at the beautiful white dots. And they just all of a sudden look like they're jumping off the canvas. So now what I'm going to do, I've used my red and I've put it on my green. Red dots on my green. So I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm just going to wipe it off on a towel. You don't need to go and clean the whole paintbrush. And now I think, okay, I'm going to take some blue and I'm going to put blue dots in my red section. So again, take my paintbrush, just dip it just the edge.
Take some green.
You're going to use some green dots?
Yeah.
Now that green is in a tube, so we're going to make it a little watery. So put it in the corner there. Oh, you already got some green there. Look at that. You already got some green. So I'm going to spray it with my water bottle. And your mom and dad might need to just kind of mix it up. So I put some green. Can't even see it there. Sorry. Oh, sorry, guys. Put the green, mix it with some water just to make it a little more liquid. You might need more water than paint. Okay. There you go. See if that works for you, Malcolm.
Okay.
And I've got my blue, and I'm just going to squeeze out some paint. I got too much paint on my blue, on my paintbrush. Oh, I can feel that on my face. I think you got green paint on my face. Yep. That's okay. It all washes off. So I've got a little bit of blue. Thank you, Malcolm.
That was bigger.
Now it's bigger. I've got a little bit of blue on my paintbrush, and I'm just going to tap it ever so gently onto my red, and maybe a little bit into the yellow. And that pops. And it's even fun to just kind of go even into the blue, because they'll still stand out. They'll still have a little bit of a form. You'll see their shape even within their own color. Okay, so I've put blue on. Now, sometimes it's easier to do the dots on a dry canvas because I've got a wet canvas here, so the dots are mixing a little bit with the water that's already on my canvas. So Malcolm's is not so much because he does not have a very liquid canvas, so his green dots that he put on are not dissolving into the water. My dots are moving in the water, and if I tilt this right now, which I'm not going to do, but if I tilted my canvas, my blue dots would kind of move a bit. So I'm just going to leave it flat.
Can I tilt
So
mine?
if you have your canvas from last week, you can get it, and you can put dots on it if you want, and they won't move. They'll stay they will dry exactly how they go on the canvas. Okay, so I've done my blue, and I now want to do some yellow because the yellow will really, really pop when I put it into the blue, because yellow and blue are contrasting colors, or the yellow and orange. No, blue and, oh, now I'm all confused.
Blue and black.
No, contrasting colors, silly. Contrasting colors.
Blue and green.
Blue and orange. Or is that purple and orange? Blue and yellow. Doesn't matter. We're not in school here. We don't care. So, again, I'm going to wipe off my paintbrush, and I'm going to dip it in the yellow just a little bit. Did you want to put any dots on your other canvas?
No.
No? Okay. So I'm going to put a little bit of yellow. Ooh, look at that. Look at how that pops. Wow. That's so beautiful. And, you know, the less paint you have on your paintbrush, and then the harder you whack it on your hand, you're going to get teeny, 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 tiny little dots. And they are so pretty. So right now I've got almost no yellow on my paintbrush. I'm whacking my hand really hard, and there's just the tiniest little dots showing up. Do you see those?
Yeah, except for that one,
Except,
that one,
and that was right at the beginning, right? When I had paint on my canvas, or paint on my paintbrush. Oh my goodness. It's almost like I didn't get enough sleep last night. Okay, now I think I'm going to stop because I really like where this is going. I am going to try and show you, risk the moving of the dots, but if you can see, the yellow on the blue is so brilliant, and the yellow on the green, and then the blue and the red, it's just so bright. My friend Josie, she did a whole painting. The whole entire painting was just dots. She kept dipping her paintbrush into different colors and dotting and dotting and dotting. It was so beautiful. And you can do that. You can do whatever you want. Oh, sorry. What am I doing? I want to show you this. So there Malcolm's got his white dots and he's got his green dots. Some of the green dots are really, really small. Some of the white dots are big. And they've moved around. That's so awesome. Well done, Malcolm. Oh, sorry. You had it this way, didn't you? Yes. Okay, so one more thing I'm going to show you before we wrap up here is, now that I've got my dots on, another thing you could do, of course, the spray bottle, my favorite thing ever. So when I look at my canvas, I want the yellow and the red to stay where they are. I said they are kind of mixing a little bit with the water, but my blue has really mixed with the water and they don't look like dots anymore. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my spray bottle and I'm only going to spray my blue dots.
Are you going to do the sides?
We will do the sides when it dries, and we will talk about the sides though today for our friends who have a painting that is all ready to go. So I sprayed my dots, the blue ones in the red, because they were starting to kind of dissolve and I wasn't loving how they looked. So now that I've sprayed them a little bit more, they're dissolving even more into the red paint. Oh.
AJ's right there.
Amelia's right there. You're going to whack your head on this table, kid. There we go. She's going to try and grab everything. No, we're not going to lift her up. We're not going to lift her up. Yeah. Okay, do you want a paintbrush? There we go. Oh, no. Here, you can paint on Malcolm's old canvas. Right down here. You sit there. There we go. Sit on your bum. There we go. Okay. All right. She's under the table. You can probably see her. Okay, so I sprayed my blue dots, and now they're mixing with the red and swirling around on their own without me doing anything. And that, to me, looks a little bit nicer. It's blending. The red and blue make purple, so there's some purple showing up. So I love it. I'm going to stop right here. Malcolm, how are you feeling about your painting?
It's good.
Okay, and you're going to stop right there, too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now, friends, I know some of you might have a canvas that you're done with from last week, and someone was asking me, how do you know which way your painting goes? So I'm going to show you, I'm going to grab a small painting that I have. Let's see. Let's see. Okay.
You can grab my canvas.
Okay, you can do this along with me. So
Okay.
One of my teachers taught me a trick called the 360-degree test, the 360 test. So you take canvas, this is one I finished a little while ago, and you look at it 4 ways from every angle. So you hold it one way, you look at it, then you turn it one way, and you look at it again. And then you turn it another way, and you look at it again. And then you turn it the very last way, and you look at it again. And that will help you decide which way the canvas goes. Sometimes you'll just know, I like it this way. Sometimes you'll turn it one way and you'll think, oh no, that looks weird. I don't like it that way. And so everybody can take your canvas and you can do that test yourself. Put it on the wall or put it on a table or get someone to hold it for you and look at it in all directions and you can decide which way. Maybe it goes all 4 ways. That's fine. You could have it anyway. For me, when I look at this painting, I like it. Yeah.
I like it this way.
This way. You like it that way? Yeah. So if I was going to sign this painting, which we'll talk about signing a different day, because we all need to sign our work. If I was going to sign this, I would sign it on one of these corners. But we'll talk about that next time. Because today I'm just going to mention quickly before we sign off here, painting your edges. So this one here, I painted the edges bright white. You can paint your edges any color you want. You just take a paintbrush and use some nice thick paint and paint your edges, starting from the back, working towards the front. And I'll show you what I mean like that. Starting at the top and going down, away. If you were to paint this way, you're probably going to get paint on your canvas. If you go this way, you're getting paint on the back of your canvas, okay? So I paint with paintbrush going this way, all the way across. And you might have to get your parents' help with this to hold it, and you paint towards your painting so that you get nice clean edges and you don't get anything on your beautiful painting.
I don't get to because it's just very flat.
Not on that one you don't. And Malcolm already, so after last week's class, Malcolm painted his edges, and he painted them the same colors as the colors he was using for his canvas. So he's got
red here, red at the front, blue at the back, yellow at the side, and another yellow at the other
orange?
side. Oh, orange.
Orange. So he did 3 different colors for the edges of his canvas. And it looks quite nice, doesn't it?
Different.
It's different, yeah. I can't say I've seen anybody who did 3 different colors on their edges. So, something new, doing different edges. So that's what he did on that canvas. All right? So you can paint your edges too. You can leave them bare. You can frame it. You can do whatever you want. All right. I think that is all we have for today. So next week we're going to do a different technique, and it's going to be about really using thick paint and texture. So your parents can take a look at my Instagram, and they can see all the supplies that they will need, and most of the things you'll probably have in your house. If you want to look at my paintings, you can go to my website at www.cjcustomart.com, and you can see all of my paintings that I've done. And maybe there's one you're really interested in and you want to know how I did it. You can send me a special request and we could talk about one of those paintings. And maybe I could even show it to you live in my studio, and we can talk about it, and we can try and do it ourselves. Let me know what you think. I'll be happy to talk about any kind of paintings you want. Malcolm, can you stop, please? Thank you. I hope you had fun today. I hope you learned something new about dots and a new technique to try on your canvases. Remember to have your parents send me your pictures of your paintings today, and I will try and put them on my Instagram and on my Facebook too. And this video will be available on my Facebook page, which is CJ Custom Art. And I also am working on creating a YouTube channel so that you can see them there too. So I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something new. Thank you so much for joining us. We loved it. We love you. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.